And we are back. It's 8:09. It's now time for our Spotlight segment on business here on the island. Always good to highlight businesses, especially of this particular kind. We are here with Michael Vetter, he's the engineering manager for a very important company. It's called East West Industries. And they're right here, a stone's throw from the airport. East West is a world leader in the development and production of aircraft seats and life support systems for high performance military aircraft, as well as ground support equipment for servicing such aircraft. Michael Vetter is here, and we're glad to have you here.
Good morning, Jay. Thanks for having me.
This is a very important position, I would think. This is, again, military aircraft. We're not talking commercial aircraft here, correct?
It's basically all military aircraft. Some in the civilian helicopter market, but yeah.
A very important, and we're talking about, we're talking about Bell, Boeing, Lockheed, Sikorsky.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that, not many people have heard of East West unless you're really in the industry, but
Yeah.
for the most part, the people who fly in those aircraft deal with our products more than, most things that the Bell and Boeing engineers themselves design, so.
Now, as an engineering manager, where did you go to school for this?
Went to Rutgers University in New Jersey.
Okay. Is this something that you had kind of, wanted to kind of get into pretty much from the start? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I was the kid, I was playing baseball, 6 years old, watching the F-14s flying over at a Grumman, and that was pretty much it. It's been that ever since.
Did you go to Jones Beach as a kid, watching the aircraft?
Well, I'm old enough that hadn't started yet until I was in college, but yeah, it's definitely when I got the opportunity, I would spend all day watching airplanes.
Okay, I'm old enough to really, we won't get into that. But that's a great spot, and again, I would have to think that you're in touch with all government officials as far as, the latest of situations that need to come about within an aircraft, correct?
Well, yeah, what tends to happen is that as soon as if there's an incident or whatnot, we reach out, make sure they have all the right information they need. We try to stay up with all the latest trends and news, so as we go to lots of symposia and do lots of travel, make sure that we are in touch with the customer as often as possible.
Interesting. Now, are you obviously in touch with the federal government on a continuous basis, correct?
For better or for worse, yep.
And is a lot of the information that you get from them, I mean, is it top secret, so to speak? I mean, is the designs of the aircraft pretty much just within the parameters of your organization?
Well, so they tend to hand us the information we need to know. So we'll work on things that sometimes go into secret projects and whatnot. For the most part, we don't handle any secret stuff, but we have done work with some of the groups that you may have heard of or may not have heard of. The 160th Combat Brigade, who brought these soldiers to go get Osama bin Laden. So we've worked with some people that have done some really interesting things that I can't tell you about that. So
East West, I mean, they've been around a while now. What, almost 50 years, right?
Yep, coming up on our 50th anniversary in 2018. So we're starting to do some preparations to really reinvigorate the company in anticipation of our 50th anniversary.
Now, a few minutes ago, I met the owner. Is this kind of like a family business that started way back in 1968? Is that how it all came about?
Absolutely. Dom and Mary Espinosa founded the business in 1968. It was basically just the two of them. Teresa and Joe were kids back then. They are now the president and vice president. So we've had the same family has been in charge since day one. We're a woman-owned small business and very much family-oriented. There's an awful lot of the family around, and it really is it's a great environment because of that.
And you've been with East West now how long?
Just about 11 years.
There you go. So give us an idea now as far as like some of the equipment that needs to be designed, make sure everything's up to speed as far as within a regular military aircraft.
It's really funny. A lot of times I get people ask, so what do you do? I design aircraft seats. And the first response is a question, a curious look, and people do that. That's a job, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. So we do, because we work mostly in the military market, there's lots of different size aircraft and classifications, missions that they perform. So we'll get a requirement from the customer to develop a seat, for example. So they give us the size of the occupant, the crash requirements, and go ahead and we'll design the seat. We'll prototype it. We'll actually do destructive testing. We'll get crash test dummies and, crash the seat at 30 Gs, which is a very, very high impact, and make sure that the dummies are, surviving the crash. Do other types of structural testing, vibration testing, to deliver the safest, highest quality product to the customer.
Now, obviously, we're talking about speeds here that are not of normal kind. So the seating, You know, if one thinks of a regular, commercial airline, obviously the seating is so much different, but everything is designed, everything has to be kind of put into the equation, right? Regarding speed, you have impact, God forbid, and everything else.
Well, that's the thing. When when you're flying faster, if you crash into something, it's gonna be that much bigger of an impact. So we tend to deal with, the civilian world, the airliner world designs for a 16G impact. We design for 30 or 36G. So it's a much higher NG crash, which means the loads go up significantly. What makes things interesting working with the military is when everything is light as possible. So we're always looking for newer materials, new manufacturing methods to make sure that we can deliver that product to the customer.
And also technology changes on a dime, so you kind of have to keep up with everything as far as that's concerned.
It's kind of funny that sometimes our customers are a little hesitant to change because they know it, believe it, and trust it. But yeah, there's things that we're always looking to bring to them sometimes because we are a small business, we can tend to do more experimentation than some of the bigger companies. So that's one of the things we try to do is always be innovative. That's one of our kind of statements is an innovative company. We always try to make sure we're a step ahead.
There you go. And speaking of being a step ahead, you guys are always looking for people to talk about keeping the brand going in a good way here. Michael Vetter is with us, engineering manager of East West Industries. We'll continue right now, though, at 8:16. Another look at the roads and rounds. We check in with Nancy Ring. And we are back. Very interesting spotlight segment, business spotlight this morning. Michael Vetter with us. He's the engineering manager of East West Industries. They've been around nearly 50 years and owned by a woman, Teresa Ferraro. A business that's located right here in the Ronkonkoma area. It's the world leader, East West is, in the development and the production of aircraft seats and life support systems, and that's for some of the high-performance military aircraft and ground support equipment for servicing such aircraft. And you've been really, Michael, this company's been recognized really as one of the real true leaders of this business, huh?
Yeah, when Dom founded the company, we were mostly in the life support business, and we've received almost 30 patents, and we are the world leader in supplying oxygen systems to the U.S. Navy. So we're a small company. We've never been bigger than 125, 150 people or so, but we've always cut our own path and really been very innovative in our approaches.
And currently, they're recognized as top rated as far as supplier by Bell, also Boeing, Lockheed. Everybody knows Lockheed Martin, and of course Sikorsky. And the reputation actually precedes itself. Also, you guys are recruiting, we should point out, for multiple positions, and you want to specifically, I was reading, that you'd like to kind of maybe increase the talent outreach to some of the veterans and women here of Suffolk County, right?
Absolutely. So, following on winning some of these Best Supplier of the Year, some of the innovative work we've done, we've been very lucky. We're growing very quickly. We've added 15 people to our workforce in the last year and a half or so. We're currently in the process of expanding our facility. We're looking at a 50% growth right off the bat. That's kind of phase one.
How many employees you got?
We're up to 65 now.
Okay.
So, it's went from 50 to 65 is a pretty big jump, and that's really kind of putting in place the infrastructure. The big growth really now is going to be in the assembly, inspection areas. That's really where a lot of the actual, where the rubber meets the road type aspects of our business. So my engineering staff I'm still looking for a couple engineers, but we're up to 16 people in engineering, but a lot of the growth is really going to be out in the shop, making the seats, making life support systems, things like that.
Now it's such an interesting position you're in. Now I would assume you have to have the models, maybe the blueprints, sent to you by the federal government as far as which aircraft that you have to design for, correct?
Correct. So what they'll do is they'll kind of distill, they have a 3D solid model of the entire helicopter, and they'll figure out what does East West need to design this.
Do you have to get the actual, let's say, helicopter on premises?
Well, we do actually. We were lucky enough. We've done so much work with the U.S. Army and the CH-47 community that they actually gave us an entire CH-47 helicopter. It's 85 feet long, and it's a pretty cool showpiece for when you have customers in. Boeing is located down in Philadelphia, and sometimes they'll actually bring their engineers up to our helicopter because it's easier to get access and do fit checks and things like that. So that's a really great tool. It also shows East-West commitment to the customer, to the end user, to deliver really quality
Very
product.
important position. Obviously, anything much like SEAL Team 6 as far as when they went in for the kill with Osama?
So, like I said, we were down at Fort Campbell on the 160th space, which was not easy to get on.
That had to be incredible.
Yeah, that was. I think they're still watching me actually, but it was pretty neat to see what these guys go through and the way they're set up to do their missions. They are the best in the world.
That is amazing, it really is. And of course, like we said before, as technology changes on an instant, it's really just keeping up again with all the designs, knowing what they do. You have to know where certain weaponry is on that particular vehicle, let's say?
Absolutely. It's actually one of the things where we had developed a seat and we're just about to start having it installed in the fleet, and they said, oh, we have a new gun, and we needed to go through and make some modifications to the design because we need to make sure that they could operate that weapon. So that's a big part of our job as engineers, is understanding what are you doing, what are you using to do your mission with, what are you wearing while you're doing your mission, because it sounds like a silly thing like your outfit, but when it comes to the military, every piece of gear they wear is important for their survival and for their ability to do the mission, but it affects everything they do from there. So it's really important to understand all that stuff. So we spend a lot of time, I spent 3 days down at Camp Lejeune during one of our development programs, getting guys with all their gear, the life preservers, the backpacks, parachutes, the whole 9 yards, sitting in the seat, checking it out, making sure they were comfortable and, could do the mission.
I can't imagine the inspection process in this. It has to be just incredible, insurmountable as far as the hours that are put in here.
I always say, we're a AS9100 company, and the translation for that is a lot of paper. We keep records for 7 years. Everything is inspected, sometimes 3 and 4 times throughout the process. We are only allowed to use certain suppliers for the parts, for the paint and finish and things like that. It's very tightly controlled. We get audited annually. We need to have our doors open to all of our customers because they want to make sure they can get in at any given time and see what we're doing and make sure we're doing things the right way.
Fascinating subject. Not enough for a couple of segments. I'd like to have you back in. Maybe we'll bring in Teresa as well, the owner of the company. We'll have you in for an hour.
Well, I'll be fighting for airtime if she comes in.
Listen, Vetter's got an entourage here bigger than the Kardashians. They'd be jealous today. I got to tell you, all the cameras and everything. Great meeting you. Great having everyone in here.
Thanks so much, Jay. And I would love to come back. Like I said, we're in the process of relocation right now, and once we're done, we can talk about all the greatest things we're doing and really reaching out to the veterans.
Love to have you back here. You're local, and that's fantastic. Michael Vetter, engineering manager of East-West Industries. Great to have you at 8:27. Traffic and weather. We go to the roads for the latest with Nancy.
We've had a couple of...
Boom shakalaka, nice job. Nice stuff. The crowd goes wild. The crowd goes wild. Put it in the box.
Vetter killed it.
I'm going home.